Who worked at CVS.
Yeah.
And where they had to be handstand. High drugs or whatever like that.
Mhm.
He's had a lot of experience with. He just wants to get to a job where he's not,
Is he local?
yeah,
So I do
where he's not,
all the local cranberries.
he has his family, he needs family time.
Mhm.
That's the thing, the big thing,
Ours is, this area is 7 to 3 Monday through Friday.
ideal.
Well, some are 7:30. The worst is 8 to 4:30, unless he was in
He
painted
does.
post, that's 24.
He does BMX for the kids on the weekend, so he's up for weekends off,
It seems like we
that
were-
kind of, anything like that. But
You got a lot going on.
Yep,
he went from assistant manager to manager within us. Because they had a problem with
Right now.
thievery and stuff like that up there and he busted everybody.
Yeah, I do. Oh, there's one right up here.
yeah, that's the one.
Oh,
thing
wait a minute,
that's
wait.
Been really different from me is that they're with 6-figure salary was high school diploma. And they're just work their way up, you know, through the ranks.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they've been there 10 years. But yeah.
Hey, police is bond, he's been highly, but he hasn't been, he was working down at State Line, which is the car auction down there. But it was like 4:30 in the morning till
Realize that you working with
You know,
adults. right?
Harbor Freight, they started before 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
Florida knew, and I knew that noon to 9.
There's the government painted post right now, but it's 3 to 11. If I ever want that,
So
but
he wants
there's,
to get away from it. He wants to start sleeping normal hours. And
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah, just call me.
Are they sure?
But I'll be out of the office after. I'll be back next Thursday.
Here's the.
I'm here the rest
Your
of the
son,
week,
okay.
but I'm out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then back Thursday.
I'll try to find out what his schedule is and either call in the morning or afternoon.
Yep.
And use.
Mhm.
Speaking of cell phone, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I did.
Not a lot of things. I would look at whatever, you know, are- Oh, that's fine, yeah. That's all right, yeah, I understand, yeah. It's like, well, I guess I want to understand what.
Can I talk a lot of secrets someone?
Maybe we
Do
should.
you want me to pass out these? No.
What I would say to that is, would you, you know, looking minutes, everything I've done with those. Yeah. So kind of redevelop it, right? And so somebody who's coming down.
They're all coming.
I've got it, never mind, you know. I know, but. So when you get into roof, they don't make concrete. The new buildings, and. He's worked hard all his life. And 10 years ago, the loading. Never, he got it, never had somebody. I know he's very old. So you go away time with him. You own your own airplane. Around there.
I'm just thinking real quick. Most of the. Most benefit.
I really decided to go work for.
I call the meeting to order. Call the meeting to order for the Town of Horseheads Planning Board for March 1st, 2023. First order of business is the motion to accept the minutes from the January 4th meeting.
February,
I'm sorry, February, it says, yeah, I misread the.
we've been February 1st.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's fine. I need a motion.
So agree.
Second,
Second.
okay, if you call,
Joe Atkinson,
aye.
Amy Crandall,
Aye.
Alan Curran,
Aye.
Angela Hawken.
I,
Okay, I guess next on
All right,
our agenda is the public hearing.
okay. We're gonna reopen the public hearing with regard to the Parker Solar Project. As you know, last time we discovered that the notices hadn't gone out properly, therefore we conducted the public hearing at the last meeting. And then we adjourned it to this meeting to give additional notices. So I'm gonna open the public hearing for anyone who wishes to speak with regard to the matter. If you wish to speak, you come up to the podium, state your name and address. Upon being recognized, you can speak. You'll have 3 minutes to make your statement. So anyone wishing to speak, please. Anyone at all?
Okay, so I have Ken Nicastro on Zoom, if no one else here is going to.
Okay. We can do that, I guess.
Mute. Good evening, everybody, and again, thank you for giving us a chance to speak. I'll keep this pretty quick. I want to thank Greg for all his help during all of this. Also, Sean from ClearPath and I have had quite the exchanges of some of our concerns, so I'm going to keep it to the areas of concern that we have, which were the toxicity of the solar panels, which I did get a cut sheet from ClearPath, which was not the panels they will be using. They are panels similar. They are, there is nothing that says they're non-toxic. And they meet the minimum standards of the equivalent of the EPA in Quebec. Again, I don't know what that means, but basically, if the panels, anything were to happen to them, and there's always a what if scenario here. If anything were to happen to the soil, really it's Randy who's going to have to deal with it because it's his farmland. And if they damage it, he's going to have to deal with that part of it. So we'll put that on the side. The other thing Sean and I discussed were the testing of the wells, and ClearPath has stated unequivocally that they will not test the water. So I am going to test my well as a baseline, and then I will test it. And if anything happens, I want to be able to catch it early, because again, anything could happen. There's no, this will never happen. The other thing I would ask the board is is the fire potential, and Sean did answer the questions. There's safety switches that'll shut off, but I think the board should ask the fire department to submit a plan on how they would put out an electrical fire. I deal with 65 jurisdictions in 10 states, and I have to submit a plan on how I fight a fire in every one of my units. So I don't think that's a bad thing to ask, that we know that in the event, the unlikely event that it happens, that there's a plan in place that, that again, if who knows what will happen. I also think there should be an evacuation plan of some type if there was a burning of the panels. Again, I heard that, these panels don't burn, but I go on the internet and I see these solar panels on Amazon burning and toxic smoke. And again, it's a what if situation. I just want us to be safe. So, and then again, I do appreciate, Sean, I know you're out there. I do appreciate we had very informative and respectful conversations. Unfortunately, I do see this project as being an intrusion on God's natural beauty. And I think what I would ask is if there can be a concession here that they move the entire solar generating facility closer to Breesport Road. There's really, I think, only 5 of us that this really is having an impact on, and the only 5 of us that have come to these meetings and expressed our concerns. So we're asking that if they can move it down a little closer to Breesport Road, don't touch that tree line. Again, we'll deal with all the other stuff. And again, unfortunately, this is a company coming from out of state. Once they put this project in, they're gone, moving on to the next one. And then we're gonna have to deal with everything. So I just want to make sure that we have plans in place if something were to happen. Again, I appreciate everybody's time and I thank you for the chance to speak.
Thank you. Anyone else who wishes to speak, please?
Yeah, I would.
And your name?
My name is Linda Nicastro. My husband and Ken and I live at 135 Vargo Road. Can you turn your volume down on?
All righty.
Okay. I spoke last time. I might repeat it myself a little bit. We have lived in Horseheads for 4 years. We have felt the utmost peace in our home and its surroundings. We live in a quiet family neighborhood. Children play here. Families are always in their yards. There are no signs of industry. There's grass, rolling hills, and mountains for miles. We have spent tens of thousands of dollars to update our home and the land that we live on, and so have our neighbors. Horseheads is our home. This is where we wanted to retire. This is where we wanted our grandchildren to come and visit us. I know many of our neighbors could not be here tonight, but we have heard repeatedly that they bought or built their homes on Vargo Road for the same exact reasons we did. We are all devastated at this turn of events. I want to repeat, this is a family neighborhood. We're concerned about the noise from the pounding of the steel post during construction and the constant sound that we will hear afterwards as these solar panels move. We're concerned about wildlife, our well water, fire, our property values. We're concerned about glare beaming into our house. I'm not against clean energy. In fact, I think it's a great thing. However, Mr. Parker owns hundreds of acres of land. Why here? There must be somewhere else that this electricity plant can be installed. Yes, electricity plant. It is not a farm. It's an industrial energy producing plant right smack in the middle of a family neighborhood. It will scare away the wildlife. It will scar this land forever. I ask the board to understand the impact this project will have on so many people, the environment, the quality of our lives, and all of our futures. I again ask ClearPath, why was it so important to block the view of this plant from Breezeport Road? If this was on Breezeport Road, we'd barely notice it. We wouldn't even hear it. Why would you need to put it directly in the view of so many homes? Why can't you move the plant further south on the parcels so that we don't have to see it at all? Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak, please?
Actually, I would have to, please. My name is Lisa Vangalis.
Hold on a second. Go ahead.
My name is Lisa Vangalis and I live at 119 Vargo Road.
Okay, thank you.
I would like to echo what Linda has said and what I've said previously, that this is my retirement home. And I moved here from a very congested area to find peace and quiet. I love the wildlife that I have in my backyard every day. And I am also going to be monitoring my well water. I gotta find out how to do that, but I want to keep an eye on that because I've worked for an environmental organization for the Air Force where we used to clean up substances from past bad practices that leach down into the ground and into the groundwater. It happens. It takes time, but it can happen. I agree, or I mean, I still feel strongly that, as Linda said, that this should not have happened in a family neighborhood. There are industrial sites, tops of buildings, parking garages. There's a lot of other places where these things could go that would be far better than in a residential neighborhood. It's going to be a long period of time while this is going in. And like Linda said, again, it's going to scare away the wildlife and damage the earth. And we're going to have to do, we're getting nothing out of this. I don't think Horseheads is getting much out of it, if I understand correctly. The property owner and the company are the ones making the profit on it. And the rest of us have to figure out what we're going to do to repair the damage to the earth and prevent damage to ourselves. There's high winds there. is there a potential for any of these solar panels to go flying? Because I've seen heavy pieces of debris, the shed or the roof off of a neighbor's deck go sailing past my house when I lived in Utah. It was this high off the ground and it was just a sheet of metal going across down the street until it dropped and we jumped on it and secured it. So it happens. So I'm wondering what happens if one of those panels hits one of our houses. I've had siding ripped off of my house from the winds. My son-in-law comes over and very nicely nails it back into place for me. But what happens if one of those panels comes off and hits the back of the house or hits somebody when if they're outside? I just think that there's too much risk involved with putting, as we have said, an energy producing business or structure in a residential neighborhood. So I just ask that for future consideration, you try and relocate these things to anywhere but a residential neighborhood. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wish to speak, please? Anyone at all? Motions in order to close the public hearing.
So be.
Any second?
Second.
Joey Atkinson.
Aye.
Amy Crandall.
Aye.
Alan Curran.
Aye.
Angela Hawken.
All right.
Do we want to put the seeker for this aside and get these other people done and then come back to the seeker?
Well, I'm just gonna say, we. Before we move forward, we got, I think you've submitted the calculation for a decommissioning plan. Are you planning on a bond for the decommissioning plan? Is that what you're?
Typically, that's what we do, but we're amenable to,
Well, I'm just asking, it's up to you how you wanna fund it.
typically, we do a performance bond.
Okay. So that we have to get that from your institution. The host benefit agreement, did you send me that yet?
Not yet, we can send you a draft.
Okay, because that has to be in place before this board is gonna pass,
Okay,
and that has to be in place by the town board. Okay,
understood.
now, just so you know, the town board is meeting a week from today. We ain't gonna get it done by then. But they then will meet 2 weeks after that,
Okay,
okay? So if we
Should I-
get it,
should I just coordinate with you on it? I can send you the draft, tomorrow.
that'd be perfect, yeah, get it to me and then we can get that, you can get that arranged.
Okay.
So then we can move forward, so at the next meeting, then we get these things in place, we can move forward with completing seeker and they can take the vote on the site plan at that point in time.
So just to recap, the outstanding issues are the form of bond or form of surety,
Yeah,
and then the
host benefit agreement.
and does that have to be negotiated and enacted? Because typically, we can't do that until we have an entitlement locally for site plan approval. So
Understand.
you can-
I understand, but the town board is gonna have to approve the form
Okay.
and authorize the supervisor to sign the agreement. So it won't be signed, but until after, but this board's not gonna move ahead until that's done. That's agreed to at that point in time.
You want it basically ready for execution.
Exactly,
Okay, yeah, okay.
exactly,
If you don't, can I ask why?
because I want it.
Okay. that's good.
Because I'm not gonna approve you to move forward without we have that, okay?
Okay.
Otherwise, seeker gets very long, and I'll see you next year.
Yeah, I understand, okay. The first part answered the question.
Okay? All
I
right,
should receive.
we will ask the fire department for a plan. I think we did that on the first one at Hickory Grove. So we will let's get a hold of Town and Country.
Okay,
Let's talk that, we can get a see what their plan is and their training is
okay.
for that. As a disaster, anything that would happen that would be labeled a disaster. There is a county plan for disaster. that we are a part of. Now, whether they specifically deal with, the solar issues, I do not know, but we'll put that down and we'll try to see.
One thing to note too is, we will carry comprehensive insurance for this project.
Right.
That would address those as
Yeah.
well.
Yes. Are there, I mean, they talk about soil. On the 4 I've been involved in, nothing's ever come up about any soil issues.
I mean, Ken and I have talked at length about this, and unfortunately, I just, so I couldn't prevail upon, couldn't convince him otherwise. But the bottom line, there's, in order to have a contamination problem, you have to have a source of contaminant. So like an underground storage tank or fuel oil or something like that. The bottom line is we have nothing in our product that can leach into the ground in any recognizable volume. And furthermore, the houses on Bargo Street are absolutely, I can unequivocally say they will never be impacted by the groundwater, because groundwater on our site moves towards the river away from Bargo Street. So nothing, even if there were something on our site, it wouldn't, any contaminant wouldn't go in that direction. But I also don't want to give any credence to the fact that there could be any contaminant. So I mean,
Well, yeah,
there's basically no, the most contaminant we'll ever have on the site is during construction. That'll be fuel in the vehicles that do construction. So even after construction, there's not going to be any trucks there. There's not going to be any equipment there. There's not going to be any fuel there. There's not going to be any contaminants there. So there's nothing present that could contaminate water supply.
the charging facility, whatever they call it, or the conversion facility. Is that gonna be toward them, or is it gonna be, where's that gonna be? Is that,
You mean the inverter?
that's what I want, yeah.
Yeah, in the center of the site plan. I don't know if we.
Yeah.
You have the.
It's about right in the middle, because what we want to do is you want the wire lengths to be the minimum they can be. So it's centrally located, but again, facility's probably a misnomer. I mean, it's really just an electrical cabinet.
Well, I see it over here. I
Yeah.
mean, we drive right by it, it's right next to the road. You can see what it is.
Is that?
Which one?
Over on Hickory Grove Road.
So I mean, it's an inverter, and it is, I don't want to get too technical, but it's pushed a bunch of wires, and there's fans for air cooling because it gets hot. So.
But how
large is the structure though? I mean,
that
structure's not 10 by 10,
It's like 6 by 8, 6 by 10.
it's smaller than a shed. Yeah,
Right, okay.
it's not that big. I mean, it'd be. Like maybe the size of that.
Actually, probably the size of the table,
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
maybe a little smaller.
all righty.
And it's not an occupied structure, it's a cabinet.
Okay.
Just, one quick question for me. Is the tracking system, or is it constantly moving motors, or is it steppers?
No, they're steppers, so they.
Steppers, so they just
it
click.
ticks,
Once in a while,
there is
yeah.
if there's snow that, you don't want too much snow to pile up on top, so they have like a backtracking ability to dump the snow off, so that it might tick a little bit faster when it dumps the snow off, but otherwise, normal operation, it just ticks every 15 minutes or so to follow.
That reminds me too, you have a problem with our height size, right?
Yes.
Because of if they're,
When they're vertical.
Right, at full tilt, the leading edge at the top is higher than the required 15.
and we said 15 feet, right? And how high would they be?
I think we requested, what did we request?
I think it was 8.
So the way
In site plan review, the board has the opportunity to vary certain things.
Yeah,
But the question becomes substantial. Whether if it's substantial, and we gotta go for a variance.
Right.
So I guess that would be the question is what, how high are we talking and?
I think it was no more than 19. right?
Yeah.
I thought it was 18 or
There was
something like
a
that.
range, because obviously these are very linear projects that have several different measurements over the course of the project. So what we did is we sort of captured it by groupings.
Mhm.
The easiest way to describe it is the center axle. So the axle around which the panels spin is about 12 to 14 feet high. And of course, that differs depending on how ground is below it, because you're measuring from the ground up to the
Yeah.
axle. So in some cases along that line, it's going to be a little bit different, but we measured it according to our plan, it varies from 12 to 14 feet. So when the panel's flat, we're gonna be under that 15-foot number. But as the panel rotates, it's gonna extend above that number. And what we did is when we calculated it, we said, okay, at maximum tilt, so the highest that panel can be, I think 20% of the time, or 20% of the array, it's under the 15 feet. Or maybe at the top 20%, it's maybe between 18 and 20 feet. And
Okay,
then for the middle, it's maybe between 14 and 16 feet.
okay.
Maximum panel height on, in one of your forms there was 18.5 feet.
So we tried to be as explicit, describe as explicitly as we could what we're anticipating.
Well, maybe you can show us a typical at the time to show us, grade and how this really,
Sure, yeah. happy to do that, yeah.
is it really above that type of thing?
Yeah.
Now, one of the questions always is, and this one's been at everyone I've ever been involved in, is glare. We dealt with the Callahan farm out on 414. And they put together a thing showing. And I don't want to say it was glare because these things are supposed to take in like the sun. They don't give off the sun.
Yeah.
But the edges and stuff, that they were, what do I want to say? It wasn't a glare, but it was a glint.
Glenn, yeah, that's the right term.
So and these things are moving, obviously, we're over there, they were stationary, so. At a certain time of day, they could say, you're gonna get you might get a shot of something, you might be able to see that frame, or up here, or down here. With yours, it's moving, so that could happen more often, is that correct? Or,
Except that the way the panels are oriented, they're oriented to the sky. So any reflected light is not sort of reflected into your window. So like, for example, if you're driving down the highway and the light reflects off of somebody's windshield that's at 45-degree angle, it can come into the back of your car. But in our situation, when the sun's highest, our panels are straight up. So we're never redirecting the light towards the homes. It's always either being redirected up towards the sky.
How low would it be? I'm thinking like sunrise and sunset type of thing, and more so sunrise for you guys.
Yep.
Because your project is west of their homes, but I
Right.
mean, it in the morning, sunrise.
Yep.
How much of what is like the lowest angle or whatever I would say?
30 degrees.
So you would
Yeah,
still be shooting,
Probably 30.
But it would be.
it still would be reflecting up
Yeah.
in that situation. You know what I'm saying is if it was tilted down more
Yeah, so
at
the
sunrise.
nice thing about the tracker panels is that they're not static, so the sun, so the way the sun moves on a static panel, as it goes higher in the sky, it reflects lower towards the ground, right? Because you're kicking off that surface.
Well, I was thinking more of the framework and stuff like that would be. It would be a direct reflect, not necessarily a rebound. Situation
On static panels or?
on any, well, on a static panel, it's more flat up and down. Your guys are gonna be tilted toward their homes. At a certain angle, 30
Right.
degrees.
Sorry to interrupt. The key difference is we move with the sun. So when the sun's lowest, it's coming at an angle this way. We're at our maximum angle, but it's still reflecting up into the sky. When the sun's at its highest, the panel rotates. So we're reflecting back up into the sky instead of staying at an angle. And as that sun changes.
The sun is over here, your panel's over here, their house is over here. You're aimed in that direction. I'm just thinking is the 30 degrees enough to reflect it in an upward direction? You know, like I say, the sun is coming up, it's not high in the sky, it's coming over the mountain.
Yep.
Okay? You're misunderstanding what I'm saying. You're looking at a sun directly overhead. I'm saying at sunrise, at 6 o'clock in the morning or whatever like that, is coming over the hill. Your panel's over here aimed at directly back. You're talking about a reflection that's going straight back.
Right, but if it's at an.
But if it's at a 30-degree angle, that angle is enough tilt, you're going to get a little bit of deflection up.
Right, we would not.
Or it would be back and shooting higher
the
than,
panel would never be flat to the horizon.
perpendicular enough that it would reflect
Flat to the
back.
horizon. You can't do that.
No,
Okay.
and
That's-
we can provide that rating
Yeah.
for you too.
Okay. All right. Okay. Anybody else?
One other question.
Good.
One of their concerns is the pounding of the posts. If all the posts were there, how long would it take to put them in? Roughly.
4 to 6 weeks.
So our most recent experience is with harder ground conditions, so it's taken us a bit longer. In this
You
case,
could take the long end of that anyway and consider weather conditions or whatever like that, you know, we don't know. Could have a summer like last, so it was hot and dry, hard as a rock.
Right.
Or a summer like this one before that was wetter than heck and you couldn't work in the mud.
Tough on
So.
my golf balls.
I don't believe that there's any real pounding of a post. Tell me if I'm wrong. Isn't that post hydraulically driven? There's
Are they
nothing-
pressed?
There's nothing.
Are they
rattling.
pressed or are they done with an ultrasonic?
It's a pile driver, so.
It's a pile driver, so they are pounding.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, I worked on Hickory Grove. I didn't hear anything more than.
I think part of it depends on the soil, right? If it's soft soil, it's.
Yeah. I mean,
They drive in. I've worked around pile drivers.
So you wouldn't have any problem with saying you can't start before a certain time in the morning, you have to be done by.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
All we like is, enough hours in the day to. effectively
Right, to get it done so that it's not stretching out.
The only
time.
other issue would be is if we restricted you to a 8-hour day type of thing situation, it's just gonna prolong the work.
Right,
So in other words, these people would end up with more days. Versus if we did it in 10, 12-hour days. That situation would be less days.
Correct.
So it's, yeah,
Juggling the man hours to do it.
damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Typically, we'd stick to an 8-hour day.
Yeah, I mean, we do more, we're paying overtime.
And I know last time we were here, we talked, there's a state trooper that lives nearby, and I think another worker that works at night. So we're happy to abide by any interval that you guys set within reason. Obviously, we need some guidance from you, but otherwise we just stick with the normal working hours that are allowed in town.
Okay. Anybody have a particular question? Easy? Yes.
Would any of you, I know that a lot of these farms have been approved and done around here and driven around and looked at some of them. If any of them were proposed near your homes, would you have any issues with it? Like your property value or that kind of thing?
It's
It's just a question.
it's a what about question and what about this and what about, no, but that's not the
Well, I know
case.
It's a legitimate question. Would you have any problems as citizens living in Horses?
That's not, that's not their purview at this point in time. Their purview is to look at this. That's why they're here. They're not here to compare non-existent comparisons at this point in time.
I think Ken wants to, Ken, did you want to?
Ken, you still there?
Send some messages.
Yes, I am still here.
All righty, go ahead. Got a question?
Yeah, I just, again, hang on, I'm putting my thing back on. I listened to all this and we're getting a sales pitch here. Okay, that's all this is. Originally, these guys asked for 16 feet in their application. Last meeting, they're asking for 18 feet. Now we're up to 19 feet. All right, possibly 20. This is a 2.5-story building that we're going to be looking at. And then we have to endure now 960 posts being pounded by a hydraulic pounder for 4 to 6 weeks and then put 14,000 panels in, trucks, dust, diesel, tree removal, and we're getting nothing out of it.
Ken, do you have a question?
You guys deal with it. And that's
Ken, do you
where
have a
we
que-
have an issue
Ken,
with
do you
this.
have a question?
Again, I don't want to Randy, we don't want to stop you from making money on your land. But again, these are our homes and we're being told, tough, you got to deal with this. And it doesn't seem fair or equitable for us
And
who
Ken,
get
the public
nothing out
hearing-
of this. And
And the
I
public
understand we
hearing
had
is
great
closed. Do you
conversations
have a
with Randy.
question?
And he's telling you to ask
Oh.
a question.
Okay,
You have a question, Ken? That's all I opened it up for was a question. If you have a question, we'll have it answered.
oh, we're good.
Okay. All righty.
I have a question, please.
Yes.
To say what Karen said, I thought that was a legitimate question. Maybe not to ClearPath, but maybe to the board. How would you feel if this was your backyard? You are the people who will be deciding the fate of this project. This is our backyard. This is our lives. How would you feel if this was your backyard?
It's not that's not within their purview. They're on the board to take into consideration the project and the applications that are in front of them. And that is not part of the application.
But
It's
we have
not
no
within their-
power, we have no power, we have no say. This board does.
You've had say, the board hasn't even operated yet on this. They've been listening, they've heard everything, and they will move forward in the manner that they have to do seeker and then to ultimately make a decision on the site plan.
I do appreciate the questions that the board is putting forward. I do. That you are listening to us. And I just pray that everything is taken into consideration before any decision is made.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
John, if I can just clarify, we've never changed our request for height variance. It's been the same since day one.
well, he read it from your application, so the height hasn't changed. I understand that.
That was a maximum height on it. I'm not sure if that was actually what we had talked
Yeah.
about, but
Okay.
We haven't asked for anything different than what's in writing on that.
right.
Yeah.
I didn't dig that far into it, so it may
Okay.
be
So
different than that.
decommissioning, you're gonna get us whatever bank you're gonna be dealing with. Host benefit agreement, you're gonna get us, and we're gonna contact the fire department.
You have a question, Ken?
And then we will be,
I don't
deal
think
with
it's
it.
listening to you.
John, would you recommend following an existing host community agreement that you
I
have?
think I sent you the copies, I think a while ago, somebody I sent. The
I don't
copies
think
of the
so.
ones we used over on Hickory Grove. I sent that out, that was a couple months ago.
I'm not sure if I got it.
Give me your,
Could you resend
give
it?
me your email and you'll get it.
That'd be easiest just to use that, then, that form.
I would say yes. I mean, we've used it on a couple. That's probably the best way to do it.
And as far as the surety, you want an example or something actually filled out with?
Well, I want it ready to go, so it'll be ready to go right after. We won't issue any building permits till we have it anyway, so give me, Okay. I think I'm sending it to you PDF. You can convert, right?
Sure, yeah.
I think it's coming to you, just no frills,
Got it.
okay?
Thank you. Yeah, we'll take a look at that and get it back to you as soon as we can.
Okay, very good. Okay, so we can be done there and move on, and we'll see you in April, whenever.
So just for, is that when we'll go through the seeker form and?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll go through the seeker and April 5th. All right,
We're all set with that then?
yes.
Okay.
Those who are leaving want to go before we start with the next, or if you want to stay, you're more than welcome.
If you didn't sign in, if you could sign it against like, please, just for the record.
All right, next, number 523C, TRW Construction. Pre-application conference for new construction of a 2,560 square foot storage and small office on a vacant lot.
You getting too old to keep constructing, are you?
Yeah. Close. Remember this little subdivision called Highland Hills we worked on one time?
Yeah, I remember, yeah,
Yeah,
that,
that was
yeah.
a picnic. So when I submitted, so I started the process on this lot. I don't know, 3 months ago. You know, attorneys work, they take time to get things closed.
No.
I'm just saying.
I can't just-
So anyhow, we closed it and I had a couple meetings with Greg and Tyler. Kind of just walked through a little bit.
Greg's right there.
Yeah, well, I'm going through it. But anyhow, Monday I got the submittal of the
Yeah, what,
of this highway or Miracle Mile.
yeah, the overlay,
Corridor,
the
overlay.
overlay corridor zone. that we-
Which I'm fine with, you know, I want to resubmit my site plan basically, which I redrew. So
Okay.
can I hand that to you guys now and you just kind of take a look at it to get a feel for, 'cause I moved-
Well, we're in a pre-conference, you can show whatever you want.
I just moved the building location to work with these.
Move it up so that.
With setbacks.
So that it
with
gets, yeah,
setbacks. So I just highlighted them on there. I'm sure the copies I got either, to be honest with you. Why don't just pass those around here. Hopefully all of them if you do this. We can share one here. Okay. Got enough?
yeah. Okay,
So I think that conforms with the setbacks going forward.
yeah, the issue would be front parking is not supposed to be, but. Let's. What are you doing?
I'm doing an office for our company. Also, we're doing an office with some storage.
I mean, okay, it'll be a building, but it will be a, I don't want to say retail, but it'll be something that people the public can visit.
They can visit, yes, yep,
Okay,
yep. But I can, so I've reoriented the building on that site. I actually had my plans like 90% done. But I'm gonna rework them to work better with the zoning that's there now.
okay,
And I think my parking will end up on the side of the building.
right, that's the
So I think
preference
that's what
is
you were
is to
after.
keep we're.
So
looking
that
to-
long line, if you will be the parking, the 64 feet. Will be where parking. will be.
Out on the side, right,
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah, you look at Stemmerlin up the street, he changed the front and
Mhm.
did, put it up, pushed it over, that's. Really what,
So I guess the question would be beyond that. I have it laid out with a couple overhead doors on the one side. That would be the long length, if you will.
over here,
Yeah, on that 64-foot side.
cause you're not gonna need a lot of parking, right?
I need very little parking. I mean, it's, honestly, I parked that initially on the initial site plan. On the back with the idea of in the future. Doing some retail up front or professional office or something going
Yeah.
forward. I'm actually looking for a place for us to go for our business, that was my
Right.
primary concern with a secondary thought towards.
Where are you now? Are you
I'm over on the Level Acres,
Level Acres?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. All right. Yeah, well, cause I'm assuming you're gonna need. As far as people visiting, you're not gonna need much,
No,
but I don't know how much employee parking.
very little.
What about is there gonna be any outside equipment?
Well, I figured the way that's laid out now, I'd put it behind the building, if the building would kind of hide anything out behind it. The overhead doors are 10 by 12s, and I'm thinking of relocating those. They were initially on the same side of that 64-foot length,
Right,
but I'm rethinking it now to put them on the back of
put
the
them in the
building.
back.
Yeah, so you'd have windows on that side of the building versus overhead doors on
Okay.
that 64-foot length.
What do you say on the back? You're saying on the 40-foot line.
On the 40 feet, yeah, the back would be
Yeah.
the 40-foot line. Would be the back of the building, yeah. And I think I have like 40 some feet behind the building there to the property line in the back.
Correct.
Which would give 42.
42 minimum, yeah. Yeah, and then you got the 15, you got the rest. You looking to save the rest for something else?
I am.
If
I am.
somebody,
Mhm. Exactly. There's existing curb cut there right now, and it says gravel, that's pretty overstated. Was it?
There's two curb cuts in
There's
there.
one on that site, yeah, the other one's.
Um,
Oil station there, yes.
One is, yeah. There's an easement there. For NICEAG, I know because I worked with it in that
Okay.
general area.
Yeah,
There's a gas line easement down.
there's a big main out front there.
That runs down through
Yeah.
there. It's not really shown on this. You may want to make sure.
Oh, yeah,
Your
I've had
consideration
it on
of that.
FPO already once, in fact, they had to go searching for the sewer out there, because I was concerned there wasn't sewer out front of it.
Yeah,
But we found out there
we
was.
found there was a situation down the street where the sewer was actually on the wrong property.
Well,
The other thing too is 35 feet enough for you to drive in and out of this building from
Well,
from the property line, which is almost right on the curb
yeah,
in that area. There is no lawn area or anything like that.
Well-
Right away is almost to the curb line.
I think it is, yeah, up through there, yeah.
That's the only other thing is that anything you're gonna be driving in and out, especially if you, because to put another driveway into this, you're talking about anyway, you gotta talk to the state of New York anyway about this for permitting. But if you were to put another business or something like that in here or more, do whatever, you're gonna have to do something with the entrance to
Well, the
that.
other thing.
And the building is blocking it.
The other thing with regard to that is, if you get another business in here and they will not give you another curb cut,
right,
that's gonna be your entrance.
right.
So.
So could I ask at this point, and I know we're early in the game here, but is it possible to move that building back a little, like 10 feet versus a 35 versus maybe 45 feet? Back further to give me a little more leeway.
I'll have to look at that section. I would think that since the building's there,
Mhm.
we're still not gonna park in front of it. That,
Right.
I don't think that would be a problem.
Okay,
But would the building work the other way?
well. Scratch my brain. I think I've heard building 6 different ways. I can visit that for sure. The other thought I had was to take that, if I just step over here for a second.
Yeah.
Would be to move that building. From this location, if you will, and just move it all the way down to this end. So we came in, we'd come down this
Up
direction.
So,
that property line.
you would be the far building.
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
But the other thing, if you did that to begin with, you might be able to find out if you can get another curb cut.
Right.
If you ever wanted to say subdivide that land or something like that
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
whatever,
But I guess
I would,
in keeping with that, if we moved it up there and we did that. Do we revisit this all again, or is we just maintain those setbacks and everything? We're
Well,
good to go.
yeah, you can maintain those setbacks.
So I could move that building without going through the process again, if you will.
Yeah, well, but since we're still just talking.
Sure.
We can figure out where you want it so that the
Right.
final site plan is what you want, and we
Right.
approve.
Right,
And then, for down here, well, I mean, it's, yeah. Yeah, years ago, this was worth a lot of money, this land, not so
still
much.
feels like it is, but yeah.
Not so much.
Seems like it wasn't
anymore.
closing, but yeah, not millions for sure.
So who owned that? Did
Slavin,
Slavin own that? Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
So the other question I have is so. If I move this building down here, just to say, for argument's sake, what does that do to the rest of that property as far as me putting another building on that property?
I don't think it does anything. I think you can,
We just move
because
forward.
in that area, you have a provision where you could put basically a little strip plaza or
he
something.
could utilize more of the back lawn area type of thing,
Yeah.
because it would be a.
Yeah, you'd have more room back there, down there, yeah. But, no, it wouldn't, I'd keep the, whatever, if 15 feet's the minimum setback, I'd keep the minimum no matter what you did,
Mhm, right,
so that you keep,
maximize the. area.
There's a lot of
Exactly.
area between his building and all that too. so
Plus, if somebody else
Here
came
you're
in,
jammed right up tight.
the middle could be shared parking,
Right,
you know.
right. Well, then why don't we say, sitting here today, we just make that shift to the
Okay.
other end, if you guys are good with that.
Yeah.
And I can resubmit that tomorrow or something, or whoever,
Okay, yeah.
whoever needs it, you know.
Yeah,
I'll just
cool.
lay it out again on the same thing and make sure you get a copy of it.
Greg, do you have anything that, I don't know if you don't see this, but
No, I don't. The only thing that Ted and I talked about was just what you mentioned, where because that existing curb cut could handcuff him a little bit with entrance into the site, which is why we thought the one option when we talked to slide it on that front 35-foot setback to the other side could potentially alleviate some of that problem with getting in and out.
okay,
Because I
It also
know,
gives me a deep Backyard.
Yeah.
it gives you a deeper backyard.
Papers
Yeah.
out.
right, and I know, you probably don't want to deal with the state as little as possible.
He's gonna have to anyway, but.
It'll only be a little.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a minor change versus putting another driveway in there.
Exactly, yep.
I used to do that. I used to be the bad guy.
Well, you're a good guy tonight, right?
I'm
Okay.
retired now, so no.
Yeah, so other than that, no issues for me.
all righty, very good.
If you want to talk to the state or anything like that about another driveway, call Watkins Glen,
That's the
DOT, yeah, the DOT in Watkins. That's the office that it would start from.
Okay, so you're gonna deal with that and get that back in. We'll
I'll
get
have
it
it
moving.
tomorrow. Yeah, I'll drive it.
Talk to Greg about getting the package in and, ladies and gentlemen, perhaps we can pass a little resolution that says that we've reviewed this matter with PRW. They're gonna make amendments to their site plan and put it in, and that we refer this matter to the county planning board because they always want a resolution
Mhm.
for the referral, so we could. Otherwise, maybe they could.
If he's gonna get a drawing. then
If we
can
have
include
everything,
that.
we can get it to them for March,
Mhm.
rather than be stuck with April or maybe May.
Right.
So
So we need a motion.
if that works for you all.
This resolution is an amendment to the site plan.
No. it would
This
be- the
resolution
says
is to
that he's
submit this
going to amend the site plan,
so that we can submit to,
and then we refer
Refer it
to
to the
the
county.
county planning board.
you work out the verbiage with him. I'll sit for-
Okay, so-
Okay, we got a motion on the floor, second.
Well, Steve,
I said if I was on the board, I'd make the motion.
there you go, yeah, get it going, yeah.
Amy seconded.
Who was the first one?
I,
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take a heat.
All right. Joey Atkinson,
Aye.
Amy Crandall. Yeah.
Aye,
And Sean.
I,
I know it's tough, isn't it?
It is.
All righty,
All
Okay,
okay, thank you. Good to see you, Ted.
All right, good seeing you. Good night.
right. Bye-bye.
next order of business, number 603B, Philo Road Property LLC. Charles Olin, 103 Philo Road, West Elmira, New York, minor subdivision.
And I sent a check to Greg, but it didn't get there, so I need to give somebody.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right.
She'll take the money.
So this, this they got marked as a minor subdivision. I think it might be a major, but we don't care. You connected two pieces of property to make sure that we didn't have
Yeah.
that frontage issue,
I own a lot of property, but it's in a common.
but it's all back there, yes.
Yeah.
Especially up there, everybody wanted the fronts. So he had to connect two pieces of property. He had one in one in one name, one in the other, so they are connected, but had to be in the same name so that he had enough frontage for the remaining property when he conveys this out. So he's all set there, so really the only thing we need to do is call for a public hearing at the April meeting. That should, I don't see where it's gonna be a big issue, and this might, Greg, I don't know if you looked at that about the village across the way.
Yeah, so he is about 475 feet. So it would need to get referred to the village.
Okay, the village is across, right at the railroad tracks, across behind the other properties across the road.
Yeah.
So it's just got to be referred to them.
Yeah,
so
village
they-
and county.
And then the county, yeah,
And then the
because
county.
it's there. So we'd need a resolution basically calling for the public hearing and making the referrals to the county planning board and the village planning board.
Do we want to make that two separate motions or one?
One this time.
Okay, we need a motion from the floor.
I'll make a motion.
Second,
Angela.
Joe Atkinson,
Aye.
Amy Crandall, Skip Kern,
Aye.
Angela Hawken.
Aye.
What's that? What do you do with their friends?
What's that? Oh, so next thing is.
It'll be referred to the county and village planning boards. You don't really have to attend.
Okay, so,
The county planning board will get a hold of you with regard to that. The only other issue is notices, right?
Yes.
We have to do,
500 feet.
we have to do notices. I believe it's 500 feet for these. What you'll have, there's letters that are gonna have to be sent out to your neighbors within
I
500
will
feet.
send you that.
oh, okay,
I will
We'll
send
we'll get
the
you a
whole packet.
package, yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
We will get you a package on doing that. That has to be sent out so that it gets to them.
So one question is it to the owner of the property or the residents? Because
They will get it to you. It'll be
Explain that.
whoever's on the tax roll.
Okay,
That's who gets the letter.
yeah, 'cause I was thinking like my sister owns.
Several houses in that area.
Yeah, several houses that have renters in it, but she
Yeah, no,
owns.
it's not the renters, it's
Okay.
it's the owner. Yeah, it's the owner.
Mr. Owen, do I have your home address?
73
Uh-huh,
Philo Road West.
okay, because that's where I'll send the packet,
Okay,
okay?
yeah, the property I didn't, is,
So
I gotta do some work on that after I get this done, but basically, I don't know if you know what's gonna happen at, sorry. Capital Soccer Club has been renting a warehouse and he put an indoor soccer field in there.
Yes.
And they wanna buy it, they're gonna lease it for 10 years and then with an option to buy at the end of that 10 years. But they need their own parcel so they can, like, they're just taking electric off of mine and they wanna put, their own electric in there and some parking and possibly or whatever down the road.
Yeah.
So, but they can get some grants if they've got separate parcels. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll get this out to you. I'll explain everything in the letter.
Perfect. All
Okay.
right. Very good. Greg, thanks for your help.
Good to see you.
All right.
So that concludes that concludes. The issues, except for we talked about the overlay zone,
No, we don't.
Yeah.
or the discussion about eliminating the first 250 feet of residence A on the town roads.
I have. We gotta pull out. We did a resolution. Years ago with regard to the outer things, moving it from 500 to 250. But actually, what we're probably gonna have to do with that is we're gonna have to get some maps. And we're gonna have to sit down, we're gonna have to look at these areas because. We may wanna move that 250 up to the roadside where it's. More agricultural than that, but there's areas where there's houses along the road, out down your way and stuff, there's how, which should stay in a residence A zone. Those things. And then we could get rid of that. Get rid of all that. All property owners within 500 feet of the boundary by mail. So 17510 is the section.
I got a question.
Okay.
The connector road that's coming up through there and everything like that. When that goes into effect, is that pretty much, we've got it figured out as far as zoning and all that type of thing? Or is that something that we're gonna have to, after it's open, I mean, because we're looking at later this year, probably most likely toward the end of the year.
Yeah, I don't know if there's gonna be access off of that, is there?
I don't know that. That was one of the things I don't know.
I guess I've never really seen a.
Years ago, I saw the maps. but
Yeah, but I don't.
And I believe I heard at one
I have-
time that
I
it was
have
gonna
one.
be without access.
I have it. You wanna?
You haven't?
They're in
Pretty
the-
sure. Sorry to interrupt. I'm pretty sure there is not gonna be access from the last thing I looked at.
Access to where?
Off of that
Access
road
off
for
the connector
Off
road.
of,
Get off the
off
road.
of the
In
connector road,
parcels that would be developed.
in between Route 13 and Old Ithaca Road. I don't think there's gonna be access from what I looked at last time.
The only one I thought I heard that, what's his name's lot that he bought there was gonna have access, or does it? I don't know.
Curran?
The used car guy.
Yeah, pain in the butt guy. Yeah,
I didn't wanna say it, but that's okay.
You want me to email it?
You
too?
should let me say those.
It's in the minutes.
I should. You keep me out of trouble. You keep me out of trouble if I say
Recording.
that stuff.
Good going, Greg.
But
Well, you should-
I don't think so. He has, I think he's still in conversation to try to get access off the road, but he does have access off of Old Ithaca Road.
Right, yeah,
So we'll see.
okay.
Oh, you're talking.
So we
from
might
the-
have to look
from the
at-
bridge to the Old Ithaca Road,
Right.
that section. I was just looking at the other end of it being
Yeah.
more prime
If,
for like a truck stop or, you know, that, although there is a lot of right of ways that go down through there.
There's a,
From NICIC, the power lines and all that.
yeah, there's a decent amount of floodplain issue in there too. If anybody wanted to develop anything anyways.
yeah,
There's not.
it would seem
The
the north
drawings
side
don't
isn't
have
gonna have that, be able to do anything with.
Right.
And then the other side's got mainly the village park, right? Along in there, yeah. So, good idea, we probably should ultimately look at it.
I just was thinking because it looks like a prime spot, wide open fields.
Quick
Right,
question.
yes,
Just because
There
I,
is.
just because I own, go ahead, I'm sorry, Greg.
Oh, sorry. So there is, I know Town of Big Flats and Town of Elmira, I think, also have these zoning districts called conservation zones, which are usually bigger pieces of property that are in the floodplain. And you kind of label them conservation districts, which really restrict any development. And the main reason is for FEMA and the CRS, the flood insurance program that the town's in. You create those conservation districts and you get more points toward your CRS program. I know it's boring for me. I couldn't imagine, you guys thinking about it too hard, but a conservation district may be worth thinking about in a place like that.
okay, yeah. I don't know if that pit will ever open again, do you, that'd be the question.
Right. Yeah, that's the one thing to look at. If I don't know. That's a good question as well, whether or not the
Understanding is it's pretty well mined out to the point because anything under the water table area is too soft to utilize for construction material.
Okay,
right.
Well, it's pretty much scraping everything that's off the top, which has been done several times.
well, Cold Springs had bought the parcel just north of there.
Which I anticipated if they got the 17, they would have gotten a lot of their fill from that.
Exactly. That's exactly why they bought it, was to have it, you know, to have it.
And I
have it
believe they
available.
still own it, so,
Huh?
and I believe they
I
still
think
own
they
it.
still own it, yes. So. That's a good group to work with, too. All righty,
Question, the reason I stayed, what did overlay zone for Lake Road and Grand Central mean?
what we looked at in a couple different places is, and we have them in a few different places. Is an overlay zone, like there's one going up Route 13, there's one going up, Route 14 here. So that, district like a residential area, which some of these are, can change over into a business district, but with site plan control by the board.
All right. Okay, thank you.
All righty, Randy.
Your friend that you spoke with at the end, I don't think he signed in. Would you mind, just for the record?
Yeah,
If you remember it, if
I just
not,
don't know his name.
it's not a huge deal. All right,
Yeah, I don't know his name.
all right, it's not a huge deal. It's not-
Yeah, he lives right across Bargo from me, but I don't know his name.
All right, yeah.
Well, I guess if we don't have any more business, I guess a motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Thank you, Randy.
Is that,
8:05. I'll make a motion.
okay, Amy's making. the
Yeah,
motion.
you'll do that.
Amy,
Second,
Angela,
All in favor?
all in favor?
Can't do that. Gotta call a
We
roll.
gotta call the roll.
Oh,
Has to be a roll.
Oh,
Can't do that.
Joe Atkinson,
Aye.
Angela Hawkins, Amy Grant, Skip Burr,
All right.
all in favor. Yay.
This isn't that.
I didn't